Chapter 10, Reporting and Dictation. Radiology reporting hasn't really changed much in the last 100 years, with the exception of the last decade, as new technologies continue to arise. Early reports were typed or handwritten, then recording devices were used and transcribed to text, and now speech recognition software is primarily utilized. Speech recognition is a software application that automatically converts spoken words into text. Speech recognition software has its advantages with a reduction in transcription costs, so it basically replaces the medical transcriptionist, and the report turnaround speed, which is increased when speech recognition software is used. But, however, implementation can result in a decreased radiologist efficiency because there may be some issues with the software that they're using. Choosing the right vendor and user training can help offset the decreased efficiency. When a hospital goes to implement the speech recognition software, it is extremely important to have radiologist buy-in. You have to at least have them interested in the product. You should also have a project leader. That's usually the radiology department leader. And these two things should be in place before any decision is made to implement the software. All right, so the speech recognition software uses macros and templates. What are they? Well, they're predefined reports, words, phrases, or other data that are used to shorten the reporting time. They can consist of an entire report and often are created with blanks that can be filled in with numerical data by the radiologist. So you'll have your regular template for a stone protocol CT, for example. It'll have all the regular verbiage in there that every CT stone protocol result will have, except it will have a blank where the radiologist can fill in the measurement of the stone per each exam. So the worse the recognition accuracy of the speech recognition software, the more useful the macros and templates become to the radiologist. So a macro is a complete stored report, while a template is a report created with blanks for easy insertion of other data elements, numerical or otherwise. Macros can be created and shared system-wide between multiple RADs, and some macro lists are for sale by third-party vendors. Newer data also allows for the insertion of risk data per exam, such as clinical history, study date, and patient demographics. So I want to talk a little bit about the process of choosing a speech recognition software per the vendor. So first, you want to do a product demonstration. So you want to pick, 2 or 3, maybe more, different vendors, bring them each in separately, and do a product demonstration where they set their product up and your radiologist actually tries it out. You want to evaluate the speech engine, which is what performs the actual conversion from speech to text. Although it would be great to do it in many sessions, it is difficult to do with just one session, but it's also hard to get the vendor and the radiologist lined up as far as scheduling goes for more than one session. You want to do some image viewing and reporting. You want to observe how they are accommodated by software and workflow. And you want to make sure that the software integrates with PACS seamlessly. This will improve the radiologist's efficiency, and it helps with a paperless workflow system. I want you to take a look on page 149 of your book at the top, step-by-step 10.6, vendor evaluation. I want you to take a look. There's just 7 steps there that would help in the speech recognition software vendor process. So then we're on to the training and applications once you have chosen your vendor. The training is for initial implementation, but also should be ongoing over time. Each user will need help with enrollment and instruction, and just know that some users will learn better and learn faster or learn in a different way than other users do. So it may require multiple continuous sessions. The initial apps are typically performed by the vendor, and this is something that you want to have set up, you want to have carved out before the purchase actually takes place. So you want to ask when are the applications going to be performed and by who. You want to consider some IT support. So maybe a super user from the IT department should be trained by the vendor. So make sure you have some buy-in on the information technology side of things. And just remember, you should expect a longer learning curve for the part-timers or contingent staffers, the RADs who maybe move site to site, or the locum radiologists. They aren't going to be using the system maybe as much as the full-time RADs are, so they might not be able to retain the information that they learn in training as much. So there are different models of speech recognition software. I'll just talk about a few of them. There is the self-edit mode. This is where users dictate, edit, and sign reports without the aid of human transcription on the back end. So no human transcription is used whatsoever. Reports can be completed one at a time, or they can be batched together. The turnaround time seems to be better with the self-edit mode, as well as the cost savings, actually. So then there is the transcriptionist mode. So the users dictate in a traditional manner, and speech recognition is then applied. However, a transcriptionist is on board to make the corrections. This is acceptable to the RADs who struggle with accuracy and maybe just change in general. Also, it is important to remember that the speech recognition software, while it can account for many accents, heavier accents are harder for it to accommodate. So it is still necessary to plan for transcription correction of any errors due to accents. Many sites use a hybrid model, so maybe a self-edit mode and a transcriptionist mode, which allows RADs to choose whether they want to use either mode. And also, just to warn you, if you ever find yourself in a position where you are helping to implement the speech recognition software at your facility, just know that some of the problems that arise from the radiologist is that they will say or complain that speech recognition software slows them down initially and also takes away the focus from the image interpretation. This may just be them dragging their feet to make the change, so just make sure that you have everything in place and you're ready for all of these problems to possibly pop up, and just have a plan. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the problems that could arise from using speech recognition software and how to solve them. One of the first problems is microphone position. You want to make sure that the radiologist has the microphone properly positioned, which would be a 1/2 inch from the corner of his mouth. It is often helpful to implement the use of headsets because they maintain the proper position even when the head is moved. So like we had mentioned before, there's often a dual computer screen that the radiologist may be looking at the prior chest x-ray on one screen, and then on the other screen is the current chest x-ray that he's reading. His mouth will be moving back and forth from each screen while he looks at them. So having the headset helps offset the microphone position. Leaving the microphone on while not speaking can also cause issues. The system will possibly freeze as it tries to interpret any background noise that may be going on, and will lead to more errors. Then there are timing errors, maybe a split-second delay, which can create errors if not accounted for. So maybe after the radiologist boots up the speech recognition software, if he talks too soon, it won't be picked up by the software. Some words are problematic words. The system will just have trouble with them every time unless it is trained. You need to train the system to recognize the words or phrases, and then these errors will be minimized. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, the heavy accents can be a problem, and they just require more training or more use of the vocabulary editor in the system. Just always encourage users who have difficulty to use the macros and templates. They're there to make the radiologist's job easier. And once the radiologists get used to them, they do end up liking them a little more. As far as navigation goes with the speech recognition software, the user or the radiologist must be able to navigate the PACS and the recognition software simultaneously. A good system will allow the user to use voice commands and buttons to control the speech recognition software and the PACS without removing his eyes from the images that he's interpreting. Different users will prefer different navigation combinations. That's just how it is. Everyone has their own way of doing things. So now we'll talk a little bit about structured reporting. There are three different ways that radiologists lay out their reports typically. The first is a report that has headings throughout the whole report, such as the history, the finding, and the impression. Then there is an itemized report. And this kind of report, it lists organ systems in an itemized fashion with shorter descriptive terms following each heading. So maybe for the abdomen, a few different headings would be gallbladder, pancreas, liver, and so on. And for each different heading, it will have a little summary of what the findings were. And then the third different style is a report that uses the standard lexicon with all findings codified within the database for billing, index search, and data mining capability. This is a controversial style, and it's not commonly utilized by radiologists, so if you haven't seen it, it makes sense. It's not as widespread as the other two types of reports, and if you do see it, it is most often in mammography. So the interoperability of a reporting system and RIS and PACS, that is absolutely essential. That is something that we've talked about a few times in this class. The quality of a department's interface and integration will have a major impact on radiologist acceptance and their use of the reporting software. So with the RIS interface, it requires a two-way type of interface. The accession number of the study is passed from RIS to the reporting database, awaiting query when reporting is opened by the radiologist. Report text is passed back to the RIS for archiving and distribution to the PACS, the EMR, and the ordering provider. Finalizing reports should be made available in the reporting system, the RIS, and the PACS. Wherever reports are signed, the text should be transmitted back to the RIS and distributed to other systems as well. The RAD should have the ability to create an addendum, and it should be available within each system with text transmitted back to the RIS for archive and distribution. Some vendors are now embedding speech recognition into the RIS. So as far as PACS integration goes, it is absolutely essential that a site visit is scheduled prior to purchase in order to see how the potential reporting system integrates with your specific PACS and the RIS vendor. You will need to go to a hospital or clinic, just some facility that has the same PACS and RIS as you, and see how they operate with the potential reporting system. That way you can see a replica of what your facility is going to go through once they get the system. It is important to make sure that you are meeting all of the hardware requirements necessary to make an integrated system work seamlessly, especially involving the processor and memory, since PACS and speech recognition are intensive in these areas. Some vendors are now embedding speech recognition into PACS, just like some vendors are now embedding the speech recognition into RIS.